Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. It's episode 192. I'm Mike Byland, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is Blaine Birch, the CEO and co-founder of Drive Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. And it's also a little trippy because I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing a podcast today because it's also Tuesday. This is a month of Tuesdays. If you're watching, just so you know, I don't know if it's next week, the week after, we're going to be back to our usual day. It's Thursday afternoon. Mike and I have both been I got to go traveling this week, and you've had guests and been traveling. Everything has been weird, so we're doing a bunch of Tuesday episodes, but we're back to Thursdays next week. So thanks for joining us if you're watching live here.
Right on. So, hey, if you haven't listened before, right, this is about business, beer, and BS, and a whole healthy dose of business. And we always make up the topic about 10 minutes before the episode. So if you're surprised, so are we.
Always topical though, right?
Always something that's happening right now, always something that's relevant with what, small business owners go through. And I tell you, there's no preparation. That's what I love about it. This is honest, real conversation, just like two guys would have on the back deck, right? It's just exactly. We say whatever pops into our head without any preparation, which is not good for me.
Well, for both of us, it's not great for our listeners. But what we're talking about today, because I get to see the episode right before we go live here, what the topic is. Because Mike is so good at making topics up every week, and it seemed like a good idea. And I'm just going to tell you what it's about here. So Mike thought he was leveling up his website with a shiny new AI SEO tool until it locked everyone out of the content while he was hosting a live event. And it goes on from there. So I'm like, okay, this sounds kind of fun. I'm gonna be kind of interested in hearing about this. But we can all relate. To, oh my God, in business, everything. It's hindsight is 2020, and some of them just are so painful, even years later, right?
Yeah, and that's what happens. Usually the topics come out of just something that, every day. It's just like our theme song says, there are problems every day. That's exactly what happens, right? There's something. So we always have new content. We always got, hey, this happened to me this week. This is what's going on, right? So there's always something that goes on. And not that you're a bad business owner, and not that, everything is falling apart. It just happens. How do you deal with it? And that's why I love this show.
Happens all the time. And we have beer sponsors. And so if you're watching the show for the first time, or if you're the 192nd time, I think, is the episode today, please make sure if you haven't liked, follow, subscribe, please do that, because it actually helps us a lot. And we also have a bunch of beer sponsors. In fact, we actually have 6 this week, because we actually had a friend come in for just this week, and I'm gonna talk about him. But so we always pick a beer to feature a beer. And we usually will do like micro brands or breweries. And I went to the fridge today, and I thought the topic seemed like a good idea, but it's always, sometimes it's really opaque. And so I picked Irrational's Opacity 20, which is a double dry hopped hazy IPA. Also, I love these guys. So if you're in Edmonton, go down to 124th Street, just south of 107th Ave, as Irrational Brewing. A great little brewery. They got a nice little patio there. It's beautiful inside, and their beer is terrific. So I'm featuring Irrational. I don't know if I have before, but I love the brewery, so I'm glad to promote them a bit.
Right on. So I tell you what, when it comes to a good idea, neighbor Pat, who's one of our beer sponsors, brought down some beer over the weekend. We sat in the driveway, we talked, we BS, we argued. I mean, all the stuff that neighbor Pat and I do.
Usual.
all the usual. But his beer actually fits the topic too, right? Meaning that when I show you this beer, you're going to go, that shouldn't be a beer.
Okay.
But it's Shiner Bock, or not Shiner Bock, but it's Spetzel. It's Shiner's lemonade shandy, right? So lemonade shandy. So, and I had one. I tested it out over the weekend. Usually I wait till the show to test it. If I test it, I'm like, oh, I'll try it. It's like lemonade. It's not real beer. So if you're a real beer, somebody, and you go, oh, that's not really beer. Well, it tastes pretty good though. It tastes pretty good though. So thank you, Pat. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it. So right after I said, we only show, micro brands. Here's a Shandy from Scheiderbach.
I don't. Is Shiner a big? It's not a big brand yet, isn't it? Is it? Is Shiner a big?
I don't
brand?
think it's small. I think it's medium, probably something like that.
Schmedium, like your shirts.
Schmedium, like my shirts. Yeah. So we have some other beer sponsors, not just Neighbor Pat. Again, thanks, Pat. But we also have Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog. And she's a sponsor all the way through the end of the year. If you are using QuickBooks Online and you need to know more about it, if you're running a business, you probably do need to know more about it. Go to gentlefrog.com, or better yet, go to her YouTube page, YouTube/gentlefrog, and she has a bajillion videos that will tell you how to better use your QBO account.
Yeah, and then we got Karen Harrison, who's also a sponsor through the end of the year. She just came to our marketing event on Thursday, so it was good to see her again this week. And if you're looking for cash flow training or cash flow consultant that can help you navigate and find hidden cash in your business, 3S Smart Consulting up in Michigan, she is one of the best ones in the country. Go check her out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Larry Weinstein, the cash flow cowboy out of Houston, best CPA in Houston. If you need a CPA, you go to Larry. And Larry hopped on. He's in for the rest of the year too, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was like, I think he had FOMO, like, oh, everybody else is in for the rest of the year, because he made 2 transactions. He did one, then he did an annual calculation, did another one. So he just got in.
Thanks, Larry.
He just got in. Yeah. Hey, guess who's back? Back again. Devin's back. Tell a friend. All right, so Devin is one of the biggest LSU, fans on the planet. He lives in Louisiana. He lives in that college community. This guy, he listens to us in all his travels. He runs from campus to campus and all over the South. Man, he needs our podcast to get him from place to place, right? That's what he needs. His car, his radio, we're going, and he needs to hear that he's one of the best people on the planet. Devin, thank you for getting back with us. We appreciate your support, buddy.
And Devin, like everyone else, got to hear Mike channeling Eminem for the first time. So that's kind of fun for all of us. And a little surprise from Jeremy Parker with Opper. Just bought us a beer randomly. Like, I think Jeremy, I don't know if you're listening right now, but he was listening to the show last week, and just while he's listening to the show, commented on the show and went and bought us a beer. And so I'm like, well, I've got to tell everyone about Opper. So, but I had to write it down. So Opper is a simple app that helps you prioritize tasks by combining your input with AI, then giving each task a score so you know exactly what to tackle next, which is super cool, because that's the problem with to-do lists. They just end up a dumping ground. This one actually uses AI and what you're doing, and kind of says, do this one next. It's really important. And you can learn more at opper.ai, OPPER.ai, or download today, both for Android and iOS. So go check it out. Thanks, Jeremy. I really appreciate it. In fact, I'm going to see Jeremy actually, I think tomorrow, because we're both going to be at a conference in Calgary tomorrow. And I'm going to connect with Jeremy probably over a beer. So looking forward to seeing you.
Tell him I said hi.
I will, and thanks for the beer.
All right, so today's time. Oh, before I go, I got to tell you this. I made Courtney stay up to watch the end of the Vegas Knights Edmonton Oilers game, the win in overtime. Good job, my man.
Awesome.
Congratulations. She goes, I'm not happy about it. I said, I'm kind of happy about it, right? At least it's Blaine.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, Courtney, we'll convert you. Watch the rest of the playoffs with Courtney. Courtney, you can go get yourself a McDavid jersey. You'd love that. His colors are beautiful. Congrats to the Oilers. We'll see if we go any further, but we're all cheering hard. We'll see what happens. They got Dallas up this next round, which is tough. So we'll see.
Aren't the colors red, white, and blue?
No, they're orange and blue and white.
Oh, are they
definitely orange? They like to say copper. That was
got it.
around in the 80s. It's orange. They had a little copperish brown for a while there, but it's orange. And
All right, fair
it
enough.
sounds better
Fair
saying
enough.
copper, I guess.
Fair enough. All right, so today, here's what I want to talk about today, right? Unintended consequences. That's what this whole thing is about. Unintended consequences. Making a decision, executing on it, and I don't know if it's not thinking it all the way through, not figuring out what could be conflicts in software or the perception of the public, but it's the unintended consequences, the things that you don't see that could be good. Something good happens or something bad happens. In my case, it was something bad this time, right? This time. So,
Well, and I remember, I'm pretty sure after last week's episode, like off the air, I'm pretty sure you were telling me about the new AI SEO thing you're plugging in. I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Let me know how it goes. And then I read the description and I went, oh, that's how it went. So that is not what you wanted. So,
all right. Overall, all right. So here's the thing, right? I have a really complex website, and I've done it on purpose because I don't want to have a Frankenstein type of experience where I have all these third parties that I'm dependent on to do a function. And really, I'm still dependent on third parties, but they're at least all built into WordPress. They're plugins of WordPress, which, could slow the experience down, those type of things, but they're all there. If one thing happens, I know something else that, like, instead of using Zapier or whatever, it just talks.
yeah.
So, but the thing is that so I got WordPress, which is just the mechanism, the platform that it's on. Then I got Paid Membership Pro, which is where people buy their memberships.
Yeah.
And I use both Paid Membership Pros and this other thing called WordPress Fusion, which kind of restricts different views, right? If you buy a membership, right? I mean, if I don't want you to see certain things because you didn't pay for it. So it's like you get access to paid content or paid, events, those type of things because you paid for it. Well, connected to that, I have to also have Tutor LMS. Now, Tutor LMS is where I host the whole course. And people say, why don't you just use Kajabi or Thinkific or whatever? I said, because they're third parties outside, and then I got to go outside the website. Here, I can control it all inside, right? Inside the website in one thing. So I can do it. I don't need a whole team to figure out how to do all this stuff. I can do everything in the same pages, in the same website. All the pages look pretty much the same. Then we have the CRM, right, which is also built into the website. So think about that. Most people will buy all these separate pieces and try to make them talk. WordPress has got that solved. I'm not going to say it's the best ever because just like with Intuit or any of these other things, if you're good at one thing, accounting, as soon as you start adding all these plugins, they're not great either, right? There's little quirks on everything. Well, then you have to add, if I'm maintaining that philosophy, like I want everything to reside in this one account. Then I have to get the SEO plugin, right, to make sure all our pages got the metadata and the alt image tags. I mean, all this stuff. Well, I'm always behind on that. I bet I'd be willing to bet almost everybody is. How about you? If you go to your website.
Well, you know what? I will tell you, we had a WordPress website for an awfully long time. A few years ago, we switched over to Webflow. And one of the reasons is because it's all third-party plugins. And you could have 20 plugins. And what we started to realize is that you have 20 plugins, and sometimes they would just not be maintained. They would die off. Sometimes a security gap would pop up in one of those plugins. Sometimes they wouldn't play well with each other. Sometimes updates would wreck everything. And so I guess the conclusion we came to was it wasn't working anymore because it felt like everything was under one roof, but it wasn't. It was under 20 roofs. Everything was trying to plug into it. And with Webflow, we haven't seen an issue, but we also, we have everything pretty tight and pretty streamlined. There's no plugins. Everything is native in Webflow. And then App separate, think separate. Like we had Thinkific we were using for a while as well. Separate, because the other side of it is it's like if one thing goes wrong, the entire house of cards comes down, and we had kind of walled it off. And so it'd be like, we've got this pillar here and it's got its own level of security and everything. And then they would move over here and this would be like that. So that's the more the philosophy we took. I'm not saying one's right or wrong at all, because it's like you sacrifice and you gain on either side, no matter what you do. Right.
Yeah, it's a coin flip. So, I mean, I'm like you, though. We keep the app in a whole separate domain, separate environment. They're not connected. Now, I do connect them with a script where if you pay for the membership on the main site, you get access to the app, right? I had to do that, and bypasses the paywall. Right. It checks it. As soon as you log in, it goes, is this person active? And it goes back, checks your membership. If it's active, then it'll let you in. Right. If not, you get blocked by a paywall that makes you buy the membership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, but I'm with you. I mean, so I made the choice then to get into WordPress. Man, I'm going to be honest. It was cost. Right. It was cheap. So it's an easy. So when you're just starting out, and 3 years ago, when I started Cash Flow Mike, I'm like going, I'm not going to invest like I've done in the past. I mean, there was one company where I not just me, but a business partner of mine, put 40 grand into a website. Remember when it was crazy about putting the websites and building we're going to build it all ourselves. And who knows if they did or not, because I didn't know back then. Yeah. But I thought at least WordPress, I won't say I'm smart enough. I'll say that I'm experienced enough. I can do most things in WordPress.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which means that I can fix most things.
Yeah, it is like, it's a great way to get started. I totally agree with that. That's where we started. But then it just depends on when you start to see cracks in the foundation. But like you said, app is separate. So you could see where you separate those walls. We've just over time, we've further separated those things out but it depends, again, it just depends on the business. But like you said, it's like, and it's not just technical, but something goes wrong and it just, it's like, oh my God, how did that happen? Everyone can relate to that.
Exactly right. So, I mean, that's one of the unintended consequences is you choose WordPress and then all of a sudden you got to add all these plugins like going, why is it so slow? Oh, it's so slow because every time I add an image, it doesn't make it the right size. It didn't compress it or convert it into an AVI. What is the new one? AVIF file? Not
WebP is one of the best ones, but yeah.
No, there's a next level up now. It's AVIF, I think.
Well,
WebP.
Look at that one. I might be a month behind.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like I think, and it could be the opposite, but I think all my stuff now, because I went through this process, went from WebP to AVIF.
Okay.
Which makes it even another 50% or 40% smaller or faster. It did increase speed. Whatever hell happened, it increased speed.
Oh, nice.
But that was one of the things, because you get dinged in all your search results and things like that if you have a slow website. Slow. So all these things have to start to play together, and you have to. It's a balancing act. So here's what started this whole darn thing. I didn't have to do anything. Didn't have to do anything, right? So, I got an annual renewal where last year I had all-in-one SEO as the tool I was using. All right, that's the name of the program. Mm-hmm. And because I bought it last year, I apparently got it on special. It was $199. I get the annual renewal and it goes to $499.
Oh, ouch! Yeah.
I'm like going, damn, that's a big ass increase. I'm like going, is there anything else out there? And so then I find, this new hot topic, commodity or whatever, called by Search Atlas, called Otto, AOTTO. And I am not poo-pooing Otto. I'm poo-pooing that I didn't do enough research before I deployed it. So it's me.
Mhm.
Otto is an AI driven. It scours your website and goes, "You're missing these things," like all the other ones does.
Yep.
All in one SEO, all the ones do it,
Mhm.
and they give you a report. Here's 475,000 things to fix.
To do, yeah, I know what I'm looking for. Yeah. You're not
Oh, you're
helping.
missing. You're missing this, and it keeps going on forever.
Yep.
Well, Otto has this thing saying we are a one click fix it. We'll find it and we'll show you, and with one click, we will fix it with an AI generated, according to your keyword and SEO strategy. But we won't deploy it. You can review everything. I'm like going, okay, well, let me see what that is. So I did the test first so I could review what they were doing. I'm like going, shit, that's better than I can do. Right? I'm like going, that's a lot better than I can do. So I pressed the go. Click.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the reason why it works is you have to install this pixel. So if you guys have ever done, Google AdWords or Google anything, you have to put this pixel or Facebook pixel in the header of your website, and it kind of that's how it looks into the whole website.
Yeah.
And then that's how it also makes the changes into your whole website. Well, that's what happened. I pressed that, and I'm going, damn, it made 2,500. Think about that. 2,500 things I missed. And it wasn't maybe missed. It might have been better. It could have been this, that. I mean, just all these little things that you just don't think of. 2,500 things. One click. Done. Right? In a matter of seconds.
Yep.
So I'm like going, this is the best ever. And all of a sudden these scores, I just go check the website and the scores all popped up. Everything. Even my domain authority or a DR or DA, one of them went up by 1 in the first minute. Like it went from 28 to 29. I'm like going, holy shit, this is the best ever. Right? So that happened on, we'll say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. When we did this Tuesday last week, so Tuesday, I was just in it. Didn't think twice about it. I'm like, I just took out all in one SEO. I put this in. Shouldn't be that big a deal. Now, by Thursday, Friday, people are like going, I can't get to my account. I can't log in. I'm getting, password failure. I'm getting all this type of stuff. I'm like, what? So it happens, not while I'm in the office where I can go research it. It happens when I'm standing in front of a group of 25 people, in San Antonio.
Of course.
And everybody's trying to get to their shit right in front of me, and everybody's like failing, fail. Like, what the hell? I'm like, hey, let's take a break. Let's take a little break. Let me look at this. And I send it out to, and I'll tell you, if you guys are not using Fix Runner as somebody like in the background, that just, if you like, you've got people who might be able to do it. I don't. So I use this company called Fix Runner, and they maintain the website.
Yeah.
And they are fantastic. I'm talking about, I've never seen anybody have instant service. I send something in, they send me an instant message saying, hey, we got your request. We're checking into it. And then they fix it like within the hour. Oh, nice. Mike, you forgot to check this box that says disable when the user's logged in. Shit, I didn't see it. So it worked partially, but then as you got into it still blocked them in other things. I'm like, going, damn. So I'm like going, there was too many problems. So I stripped it on Monday. As soon as after the event's over, stripped it on Monday. Now I got nothing in there right now. But the unintended consequence was that as good as it was, it did fantastic. I did not see how it played well with the other things. And I didn't do it on a staging site to look at it first, right? I did it on the live site. So I made 2 mistakes. I did it fast. I made a decision, and I didn't stage it and check it out first.
Yeah. And that's like, it's so easy to have that happen, right? Like we do smoke tests all the time before we release stuff. And we have an entire document that we go through and multiple people go through and everything, because that just happens. And it's still, you can't patch, like you can't find every single thing. You'll never test it as well as all of your customers on at one time, right? But hopefully you manage to catch a little bit more that way.
Isn't that funny? Even if we had test things over a Finograph and it never failed, somebody finds the weird off thing. Like I remember the first bug I ever found at Finograph, 2012. They said, "Hey, you can make anything as a username." So I'm making a username, and I think I put my name in brackets. Just I don't know why I did that. Just thought I would, but not the brackets. It's the one like what is those things called? It's got like the little arrow in the middle of them. They're like this.
I just think it's so. I don't even know what you call it. The fancy bracket.
Yeah, the fancy bracket, right? Not the block bracket. It's the fancy bracket.
The fancy one.
Oh, apparently in 2012, that was part of the code that was built into the program, and it crashed. It crashed. It crashed the whole thing. Oh my God. I was just creating a username in the login, and it crashed. The old Finograph in 2012.
Oh yeah, I can't remember some of the. We've had weird things like that too, like weird characters that would block someone from logging in, and over the years we've learned and patched so many of those. But I remember one user, and this was years ago. But they said that they did a refresh and then dry run just like massively slowed down. I'm like, well, that's weird. And I can't remember the exact details, except that I know what happened was something along the lines of like, we go and check for new transactions, like anything that's changed. It wasn't our mistake. It was in one of our integration partners when they made a new invoice or bill, dated it at the year. It was either the year 1 or the year 1000. I can't remember which. But the way we had our software, it actually had to go back. It found it, and then it started looping from like year 1000 forward to see if, now is there anything else is new? I don't remember the exact details. All I know is that it actually didn't crash, but it went really, really slow. And it wasn't even on us. So we actually had to go, frig you guys. Like they can't even get their date right in. And this is, it was, I don't want to mention names because I can't remember which one it was, but it's one of the real big ones that all you guys use. And we had to, and also we're like, oh, we're getting hit on the unintended consequences. And it wasn't even something we did. And you just don't find out till you see it, because you cannot predict something that dumb and that weird, right?
Yeah, so we did something similar with the ClearPath to Cash app, where I'll allow people to make changes instantly. And in order to do that, I got to store the calculation in the browser to just show you an instant result. And then when you press save or submit, it records it to the permanent record. Right. So it like avoids this like millisecond lag delay, whatever. it is, but it's just kind of an instant thing that happens in the browser. Well, last month there was a huge security, breach into Google. I don't know if you go back and look at it, it happened in March, and they didn't deploy the fix till the end of April. Well, now it's fucked up on my calculator. whatever they fixed, really, it's like going 10,000 times 2 is not 100,000. Or something like that. It's like I don't know what it did to our calculations in the browser using their local storage, but there's something they've got that. Yeah. So we got to go back and figure out what that is. That's the weird thing, when you try to just do things for speed and convenience, and then all of a sudden, what one change by the person you're relying on changes it for everybody.
Yeah. And that's one of the trickiest and most frustrating things is when our partners make a change and it's like, okay, well, you just screwed everything up. And it is like almost always this unintended by them. Oftentimes not easy to predict until you see it and you're like, oh, that just makes no sense. Like trying to get AI to do math. That's probably what they did. So they said, hey, while we're in there, let's have AI do math. It's oftentimes pretty bad at it, actually.
Yeah, so we're working to try to figure it out, because I didn't notice it until this weekend during the live event. And again, there's nothing that makes you really pay attention to everything except for 25 other eyeballs or sets of eyeballs on the same piece of data. So I'm like, oh man, yeah, we really look.
That hurts.
It hurts, but
It hurts.
here's the thing: they all know. At least my community, they're like going, dude, you're this close. This is little stuff because as soon as they press save, it actually recalculates and makes it right.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. So it's the instant thing that I'm trying to do to save time and save memory in case they want to do 50 different things, then press save. Then it makes it all right because it goes to the real calculation.
Yeah. It's still frustrating, because I know it, like as product guys, we want everything to be perfect, and it never will be. And I always look, like anytime something goes wrong on our side, I'm like, I think we actually have a better record than like Apple and Microsoft. So let's just live with it, because every time they release something, there's something's gone wrong. Right. So it's hard. It's really hard stuff. Right.
Hey, speaking of a product that's really close to perfect, right? I mean, you guys have really started to stick to your knitting and figure out who you are over at Dry Run, right? Meaning that who you're for. You know the scenarios that you can use to plan for. So, I mean, what is that? What are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, well, like Dry Run will help you look into the future of your business. It's financial modeling software, but we're really good at cash flow. That's what we're known for the most. And we just balance it out. It's hard. Everyone that comes to us is coming from a spreadsheet, and it's really hard to get this balance right, where you can have all the flexibility of the spreadsheet, but also present something that's accurate, super fast to build, and everyone can understand. And that's what we strive to do at Dry Run, is give you a tool to do that. And where we really excel is when things start to get complicated. So multi-entity, multi-currency, a bunch of weird stuff. Come and see us, and we'll help you peer into the future, get a better understanding of your cash flow and your sales pipeline and everything else. So dryrun.com. Yeah. Thanks for that, Mike.
There you go. Yeah, definitely go to dryrun.com. I mean, I'm telling you, I've known you now for at least 5 years, 6 years, 5 years, 5 years.
For sure. Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, like this. I mean, I knew of you before that, but I mean, like this, where we're talking on a regular basis, at least 5 years. I've seen the evolution of this product, and I've got to tell you, from what it was to what it is, if you looked at it in the past and you haven't looked at it today, drop the phone, turn off the podcast, go to dryrun.com, check it out.
I really appreciate that. And we feel it too. We are really proud of what we built in it. And where we're going. We're striving every single day, but we're proud of what we built. And if you saw it a few years ago, you better come check it out, even a couple of years ago, because there's some cool stuff in there, and it's pretty slick. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. So what'd you think about that transition? I thought it's pretty good, right?
It was just, man, it's like moving from,
It's slick.
Beautiful.
Even got a secret word in there. Even used a secret word in the transition.
Yeah, no, I wanted to stop and clap. You did have the secret word into there, and it was good. It was good. I appreciate that.
The reason why this feels weird, like I'm like trying to get you to give me some accolades here, but the reason why is that this space could be yours. We're good at transitions. We're good at promoting your product. We're good at, helping you get new business through this podcast. So if you're a vendor out there, if you're somebody that wants to take advantage of our mid-roll, take advantage of what we do with our audience, contact us, because we have a mid-roll sponsor, lined up most of the times. Right now we're open, so contact us.
Yeah. And honestly, we kind of like, Mike and I get to promote our stuff every week, which is kind of nice, but we actually had a mid-roll sponsor for most of the year. And we've got a little gap right now. So if you do want to hop in and get a little press, that's more than, being the beer sponsor, come and talk with us, and we will definitely do that. And if you don't know how to get hold of us, just track us down on LinkedIn. Search for us on there, or go to mikeandblaine.com, but you'll see us in there. You can get to LinkedIn. You can always send us a message on there. Connect with us. We'd love to talk with you.
There you go. All right. So these are like unintended consequences, things that we do that you just miss. I don't know how many times I write books and I miss stuff, right? Just little things. But sometimes things work out, right? The one that comes to mind, believe it or not, have you ever heard of a company called Tiny Speck?
No.
All right, so Tiny Speck was a video game company that failed, right? And I think they were from Canada, as a matter of fact, my Vancouver area. I don't know, maybe Edmonton. I don't know where it was, but so they failed. But before they closed up, they say, "Man, we built this internal tool that is just really good." And so they said, "What if we just kind of rolled that out as a product instead of this video game?" And it became known to us as Slack.
Couldn't remember the company name, but as soon as you started to say it, I'm like, that's Slack. Like, yeah, unbelievable.
And Slack was a tool that they built internally, right? To just talk internally, right? Just to talk to each other, kind of an instant messaging that was not Teams. It wasn't, instant messenger. It wasn't it wasn't texting. It was just like going faster than email, better than email, but it was just for them. But they go, man, we really like this. Maybe we could sell it. Maybe other people would like it. Yeah, I'm thinking several years later, being bought by, who are they bought? Microsoft? Who are they bought by?
Were they bought? I don't even recall that. But
they're not bought.
Boatload. They're worth a boatload. Yeah, they maybe have.
Was it Salesforce? Was it Salesforce? I'm gonna ask Chelsea. I thought somebody bought them.
Because Salesforce is they're gone. No, not Salesforce. Who's gone now? Skype is gone now. Maybe it was Salesforce. I don't even remember if they've been bought. Those transactions happen so often. It's hard to stay on top of them.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is here's an unintended consequence, a good one. We built this thing just for us. Yeah, we built this thing just for us. And when our company failed, this actually became the company. I mean, you can't write a better story than that. It's just like going, "Hey, I'm digging this hole over here, but the gold is right behind me."
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the thing is, quite frankly, the company, I don't know what the mechanics were, but that was just a pivot. But I think there used to be, I don't know if it's as much, but there used to be a very negative view of pivots. Truthfully, almost every highly successful business has pivoted at least once till they nailed it down. And, because you learn, you have to learn, and you have to evaluate, you have to talk with your customers. And it's just, the people should look at that as a good thing. It's like when you get into business and you're doing something like innovation or tech, it's like, let's learn until we get to that first pivot, because it's like almost everyone has to. Right.
Well, yeah, it was Salesforce that bought Slack in 2020. I mean, right during the middle of COVID, almost $28 billion. Can you imagine being on the verge of failure and then turn it around in a matter? I mean, Slack came on. I mean, I don't know when it came on, but it wasn't too much before.
Not terribly long ago, to be honest. Like,
yeah. So, but here's the thing with that now. Here's another unintended consequence is that they were first to market, right? Like a first mover advantage. Now, there were other ones that were kind of doing instant messaging and things like that. But first mover advantage on how they were tying the communication tools together. What they didn't realize is that Microsoft already had most of the pieces, right? So they built Teams, and I think Teams has just been eroding at Slack for just the last few years, because everything that Microsoft does is just kind of naturally integrated into Teams now. The calendar, the video conferencing that used to be Skype is now just Teams, right? So all of these things are already naturally built. And because it plays well with documents, that was my biggest problem with Slack, is that it didn't play well with files. I could never find anything in Slack, but I can in Teams because I can create the same folder structure that I got, on the computer, and boom. I mean, easy to find.
Yeah, I've no offense to Microsoft, but sometimes their user experience is a challenge. So it's I don't think they're putting Slack out of business anytime soon. But the thing with Slack that's really interesting to me is it wasn't a brand new thing. This was almost more like the iPod. Like there was all kinds of MP3 players, and then Apple came out with something that was just like a 10x better of the same thing. And Slack really, like, we were using instant messaging in my office and during my my creative agency days. That was what was it, 2009, 2010, like we're talking 15 years ago. But Slack is it just was a big step forward, and it was a big step forward in user experience and how things kind of work together. And it just nailed it somehow, right? Because there were tools out there, but they just were never quite as good.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. It became hard for me, though, because of the freemium version. It became hard for me to want to pay for Slack.
Yeah. Microsoft costs you money though too, I guess. But
it's included with just your basic subscription, right? I need Word. And we're talking about whatever it is, $100 for the year for all the products in the Office suite.
Yeah. It's a real balancing act. Like we always look at what are our top priorities? Like what are almost like the mission critical tools we use? And then what are the secondary tools? Price is always something we look at. Price has to be something virtually every business looks at, right? But there's a point where, you're paying people and you're paying salaries and paying everything else, and any sort of inefficiencies can cost you more because you start adding it up over a month and you're like, oh my God, why are we doing that? And so we just found what just works really well for us. And that's what every business has to find. And they've got to find that balance between just there's this baseline bottom line price, and then also the efficiencies or the clarity or whatever you get out of the tools you're using.
Well, this whole episode was based on the fact that I had a $300 price increase. I mean, think about it. You're like, maybe I should look at something else. Otherwise, if it would have been the same, I wouldn't have done anything. I would have just kept it the same. Or if it was a slight price increase. We've
done that as well. We have literally, when price increases happen, like that's the time I'm always looking. It always seems to be the big businesses that do it too. But they do a price increase and you're always like, well, here's a good reminder. I've been using it for 10 years. Let me just take a look. And we've moved platforms several times just because then when you start looking under the hood, then you sometimes find out it's what you get for the price. And sometimes it's like, holy shit, I can get these guys how much cheaper, and they do more because sometimes some of these big businesses get lazy. And the one, I'll tell you, the one that got me that I would still be using today, I've been on Spotify for I don't know how many years. And I had these playlists that are thousands of songs, and I just really like Spotify. And then they did a price increase, and I already had a package that I was already paying for to get a bunch of stuff from Apple, and it actually included Apple Music. And I was paying for Spotify anyways because I like them more. And when they did a price increase, I just went, screw it, I'll just use Apple Music. And I migrated all my playlists over, and I just walked away from Spotify. And I'll tell you, there's things I like about Spotify that still, I like it better. But there was that point where it's the breaking point, and I'm like, I'm not paying them when I basically have both of these, and I'm not paying you extra for what you're doing.
Yeah, I can't get Courtney off Spotify. I'm not trying to either because now I'm a fan and we got the family plan, which, makes it easy. But
Yep.
I still get everything that says, you get Apple Music. And I'm like going, that's just too much already. But we have two. All right. So we have two music playing services in the house because we have Alexas throughout the house, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have Amazon given to us too, and
it's just given to us. But you know what it's good for? I don't know. So we play music at night softly in the dog's room, right? In the dog's room, because it's like going, if he hears that, he doesn't hear everything else that's going on outside the house.
Yeah.
It's like or whatever. So it's just like a soothing thing for the dog. So we play music for the dog. So we got two. That way we can play what we want, and the dog just listens to Amazon that comes with Amazon Prime. Right? Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I will tell you the biggest, so moving to Apple Music was actually honestly super painless because I found a tool online and I can move on my playlists. And the playlists I don't think they have every single song, but probably 99.9% they have all the same songs. They have the same playlist. It's named the same, everything. The thing I hate about Apple Music and where Spotify was so good was that there's a playlist called Discover Weekly. And even what's new this week. And Spotify kind of knew, they would present songs and I would always find cool songs every week. And Apple has the exact same playlists and they do not know it's cool. It's almost hilariously bad at predicting what I want and what I would like. And so it says, here's what's new that you might like. And I'm like, no, you guys have no idea. And I don't know if they're trying to use some algorithm or they have the world's most uncool AI. I have to think Spotify actually has people involved because I don't think AI can tell what's cool. They just can't.
No.
And it always got really cool stuff from Spotify and really just crappy suggestions from Apple.
I always thought it was a playlist that people shared in Spotify. Is that not right?
No, you have those, but Spotify would analyze they both do this. They analyze your all of the songs that you've put into playlists. They analyze all of your playlists, all of your downloads, everything else, probably the frequency of how much you play songs, everything. And then they have, I imagine, an algorithm that recommends songs, probably based on what other people listen to that are similar to you. Somehow Spotify was quite good at presenting songs. So I would discover new stuff because otherwise it's like you're trying to find what's new. It's like, no, present this stuff. And it'd be like, if you like all that stuff, you might like this stuff. Just like you'd see on all these shopping sites. Apple just sucks at it. It's almost embarrassingly bad sometimes.
You know what's really interesting? Something that I think I noticed, and I don't know if they use this or not, but I'm going, I like all these songs. What do they have in common? And it was like the beats per minute. I can't remember if it's 115, 120. I don't know. However fast it is, it's I'll call it 118. I don't know if that's the number that I saw, but if it's 118, most songs in that category tend to get my attention. If it's too fast, I'm like, that's fucking too aggressive. If it's too slow, I'm like, that's too slow, right? But there's a certain beats per minute that I like. And I wonder if that's the thing. I wonder if that's really an emotional connection to the music is the beats per minute.
You might be onto something. This might be
it's weird, right?
This might be your next business where you actually will diagnose people's boogie pace, just like Mike's.
Yeah, or whenever you're happiest, right? It's like going, this is the type of music I like when it plays, and it could be different genres. That's where everybody thinks, oh, I only like country, I only like rap, I only like this. No, I like music across a lot of genres. They all have the beats per minute in that same range.
I got to say, though, that wouldn't work for me, I don't think.
Well, because you're fucking wearing Merino Japanese shirts.
Japanese pants. Anyway, no, but it's denim. Okay, but this is the because like I could think about like Sunday morning I get up, I pop on some music, and I pick a playlist that tends to be pretty mellow. Probably a lot of old like a lot of outlaw country and a little bit of mellow stuff. But then there's other times where I'll listen to something that's way heavier and way more upbeat, but it's like the time of the day. It's what day of the week and the time of the day. And it can be a very different playlist. Like if I'm driving and it's middle of the day, I probably got something that's way like boom, boom, boom. And then Sunday morning, I'm like, it's like totally different. Right. But maybe the pace is the same. Maybe it is.
Did I tell you that? All right. So, Courtney's created like a zone of these Alexas, right? Well, we call it the party zone, but it's in the most main areas of the house, not the bedrooms and stuff like that, just the main areas. Yeah. And she has been playing this just soft jazz throughout the day. I'm like going, damn, that's really good because it doesn't distract me. It's in the background. It's just kind of, it's just there. So it's not silent. Silent is the worst for me. So, silent is the worst for me. So it's bad that way. So anyway.
I'm trying to remember the name now because I was listening to a podcast or some video one day, and the guy mentioned on there the types of bands or music he's been listening to, and one of them was he called them. Oh man, what was the first name? Something Jacket. But then when I looked it up, it was actually like a French name, like Jacquet or something like that. But it was that jazz that you're talking about. But it was like the 40s or 50s jazz. And then when I started to listen to them, someone out there is going to just like roast me on this. But it was like, they were announcing during the song who was playing stuff. And I'm like, holy cow, I don't know jazz. And I've heard of all those guys. And it was amazing. I'm like, oh, this is like probably one of those like super groups with like Dizzy Gillespie and all these guys in. And it was awesome. I'm gonna look it up because it is. I got to tell people because I'm like, these guys are amazing.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, there's a difference to me between like this jazz that she's listening to and that angry jazz that just goes and just makes noise, right? So there's a difference in jazz and that jazz.
Okay, so it's Illinois. He called it Illinois Jacket, but it's a French name. I think it now maybe he pronounced it Illinois Jackie. You guys can correct me. It may have been pronounced Illinois Jacquet. It was Jean Baptiste Illinois Jacquet. And the stuff that I was listening to, he looks like that he plays jazz sax. But the stuff I was listening to had all the most like famous jazz musicians all playing like on these records with them. And I'm like, oh man, you can tell when it's a master, like when they're amazing. It's just, it's a different world, right?
Yeah. I tell you, that's unintended consequence for me. They didn't know at the time that they would influence people almost 100 years in the future. If you say this is like the 40s, 50s, 60s, that's one of those positive things. You're like, oh my God, where that becomes influential over and over and over again. I mean, look at even the clothing styles right now, how they're coming back from, what we saw in high school or even our college years. Like going, oh my God, that's back. I'm good. I'm good. Welcome back.
You are going to be able to pull out those parachute pants within the next like 3 months.
I wish I had some. If I had parachute pants, I would wear them on the podcast.
Okay, well, we all want to see that. And I guarantee you, because the 80s are all coming back, you can go buy some new parachute pants. And they should be gold and glittery and probably purple and gold because Devin will love them.
Devin loves stuff like that. I mean, he doesn't care if it's parachute pants. He don't care if it's members only jackets, whatever fiddle hopper you got from the 80s or 90s, he's going to put that sucker on. So Devin is the 80s king of the world.
As long as it's LSU colors. Or you could just go like, hey, tell you what, why don't you do some blue and orange, some navy blue and orange, and you can support the best hockey team on the planet.
One more round.
Right. We got
because
They're not necessarily the best yet. They got a ways to go.
I'm just saying, at least one more round before I get excited because, they're the biggest heartbreakers in the world. You know that.
I know. Honestly, like I am watching, but just like it's hard because I'm at the point, and I think Edmonton's at the point where it's like, unless it's a game deciding game for the Stanley Cup, it doesn't really matter. It's like, you got to get to where you have a chance to win the cup, because for that team now, it's cup or bust. There is nothing else. It's either cup or bust. There's no, they did good this year. Nope. That's it.
No. Well, they'll break up next year, right? You'll lose some players.
Not really. No, we've got people for quite a while, but you still, they got to win. They got to win. They got the best player on the planet. They got to win. They got to win a cup. And that's the expectation.
All right. Well, we'll see. Hey, you've been listening to us. So, I mean, let's tell them about how to help us, right? Let's ask for help. We've never asked for help. So
we do every week, but we don't do it quite as explicitly. But like, subscribe, follow. That actually helps us a lot. And you can become a beer sponsor. You know, the one thing we didn't mention is how inexpensive it is. We have 6 beer sponsors this week. $5. Buy us a beer for $5 and we will mention you, just like Jeremy Parker with Opera. And you can even go all the way through the end of the year. $5 a week. We will talk about you. We will mention you, or you can just support the show. And you can also even buy merch, everything, all at mikeandblaine.com.
Yeah, you just told everybody we made $30 this week.
We made $30 this week.
We're killing it in the podcast game.
And there's no inflation on our prices. Maybe next year. Maybe we'll jack the price up. It'll be $5.50.
There you go. Hey, you've been listening to Mike and Blaine. Hey, tell your friends. Tell 3 friends. I'm going to give you an action item. Tell 3 friends. Go check this out, because we talk about real stuff that's happening to all of us every single week. Come check us out at Mike and Blaine, Spotify, YouTube. I mean, if you want to see what we look like, YouTube is the best way to do it.
I'm not sure I recommend that. But you can if you want.
All right.
One bald old guy and one non-bald old guy. But another one in the books here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully back to Thursday.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.